Welcome back. This video is all about the modified Ravitch procedure that our son underwent. If you'd like to learn more about how we prepared, please see the previous video. As mentioned, this is not intended to be medical advice, but a parent perspective. Please consult with your own provider to determine if the info shared is right for your situation. We stayed in a hotel near the hospital the night prior to surgery and followed all the surgery prep protocols we were given, including when to have our son stop eating and drinking. On the day of the surgery, we arrived bright and early, and our son was given the opportunity to talk with the surgeon and the anesthesiologist. He was concerned about potentially waking up during the procedure. Both the anesthesiologist and the surgeon assured him he would be well taken care of and kept asleep during the process. Myself and my husband stayed with him until he was given his happy juice to relax, at which point we were directed to the waiting room. We had received a pager that would provide updates throughout the procedure. And just a quick overview of the procedure so that you understand what was done. Please note, I am not a professional, so I am sharing my interpretation. He had an incision made across his chest where the surgeon went in and removed the excess cartilage alongside of his sternum that was pushing it out of place. At that point, a sternal osteotomy was done, so they cut the sternum, the front part of it, to release the tension so that they could reposition it into place. And the surgeon placed a metal bar between his heart and his sternum to hold it in place as new cartilage grew back in the correct position. We are 6 months out from that surgery. He still has the metal bar in place. We expect to have it removed at the 12-month point. With that said, I want to share a little bit about the mental preparations and physical preparations that helped the day of surgery. After our son was wheeled back, we went to the waiting room, at which point we realized there was not a locker area to place our son's belongings in during the surgery time. And rather than carry them around, we chose for my husband to head back to the hotel to bring his belongings. One thing that I would have done differently, and I'll share this in my wishes portion, is confirmed whether or not there was a locker available in the unit we were in. So one of the ways that I worked through this surgery mentally during this time, it was 5.5 hours long, is I spent some time in meditation. This is already a daily practice for me, so it was easy for me to slip into, although I was a bit distracted. I do admit that. But one of the things I focused on was truly having gratitude for the surgeon and the surgical staff caring for my son during this time. That helped me tremendously be able to ease my nerves during the procedure. I also incorporated deep breathing and phone calls with supportive people to help get me through that time. I also use something already on a daily basis called the Apollo Neuro. This is a device that harnesses the vibration of sound and gives your body a sense of safety. So I was running this constantly. I typically wear it on my ankle, but you can wear it on your wrist with the setting Calm on. This is something that by far gets me through a lot of things on the daily basis, not just supporting my son and myself during surgery. I will include a link below. From a physical perspective, my husband and I both had comfortable clothes with layers on so we could shift if needed. We had headphones, snacks, water bottles, stress shoes, which I'll link below, and of course, I had the Apollo with me. At one point, I did seek out a quieter space within the hospital so that I could spend some time in prayer, meditation, and reflection. So the stars, the things that I think went well on the day of surgery, is I was incredibly grateful for the ability I had to regulate my body and mind with the Apollo, the people that were supporting me with prayer and meditation during the procedure itself, as it was a bit unnerving as a parent. I'm grateful for all of the updates from the surgical staff throughout the procedure itself. I never felt like I was wondering what was happening. I always felt as though I was being provided detailed updates, which was helpful. And speaking of details, I am incredibly grateful for the very detailed explanation from the surgeon, the time that was spent following the procedure to explain what was done and what to expect. For my wishes, or things that I would have changed, we would not have brought the stuff that we had on hand with us had we known there were no lockers to put it in ahead of time. That would have helped us avoid making a trip back to the hotel. I would have put my phone on Do Not Disturb except for a handful of people that had access to me, to avoid the constant pings and dings that seemed to be barraging me throughout the procedure. I also would have meditated sooner during the actual surgery so that I would have been in a better mind space, because I probably spent the first 45 minutes pacing around, and that could have helped me calm down sooner. And lastly, though our son slept most the rest of the day, once he was able to finally eat solid food, I would have ensured that his meal was extremely light, as the food that he did consume ended up making him nauseous and throw up in the process. Our son was in great care for the 4 nights and 5 days he spent in the hospital. We were lucky enough to secure a private room with an additional hospital bed so my husband and I could alternate staying with him at night. His pain was well controlled, and there were regular checks on him to be sure that he was comfortable. There was also checks from occupational therapy and physical therapy, as well as regular surgery checks to be sure that his healing was on track. From a mental state, our focus was on keeping him comfortable at this point. So we wanted to support him in whatever he needed, so much so that he and I came up with our own language that consisted of one word so that I would know what it was that he needed, because it was a bit painful to speak. I took lots of notes in my phone to help me remember what was shared during the check-ins. Because I had lack of sleep going on, I wanted to be sure that I was able to effectively communicate the information as I handed off to my husband. I also asked the nurses for help when needed, and this included having them repeat instructions probably more often than not to confirm what needed to be done. The good news is the nurses' station was just a short ways down the hall, so I could always go and ask questions. From a physical standpoint, there was a schedule for the lung strengthener that he was utilizing following surgery that was shared, and that was helpful. So I set timers in my phone to keep us on track. He was also very motivated to utilize a spirometer. I had purchased bagels as a thank you for the nurses. I did bring a thank you card, but forgot to fill it out and share that with them. But I was able to share a token of our appreciation for all of their effort. And again, from a physical standpoint, I asked the nurses for help when needed. This looked like everything from supporting our son in utilizing the bathroom to helping ensure he was properly positioned, as he was to maintain a 45-degree angle during sleep on his back, which is not his usual positioning. One of the other physical things that helped me was I maintained my own daily habits during this time. So I ensured that I was meditating. I was getting movement, and the movement purely looked like a walk to and from the hotel, which offered the opportunity to get some sunlight in my eyes, drinking water, and eating greens. For our stars, the things that worked well during our hospital stay, I have to give a big shout out to the audiobooks. They were a complete lifesaver. My son requested them more often than not in the hospital. The food I had prepared was a lifesaver for me. I had easy breakfast foods and snacks available in the family refrigerator, and I did not have to be on a particular schedule. I could just grab something when it made sense. The friend videos that I had my son's friends make at his gathering prior to surgery gave him something to look forward to. Unfortunately, he could not watch them until later in his stay because laughing was painful for him. And then maintaining my own habits helped greatly because it gave me fuel so that I could be there for our son. In terms of wishes and things I would change, I would have brought my own pillow to the hospital sooner. I would have had duplicate audiobook files. It was on my phone, but not my husband's. So when I went to depart, it was a little bit of a to-do because our son still wanted to listen, and we had to quickly download it on the hospital Wi-Fi, which was not the fastest at the time. And I would have asked the nurses about the vitals and the meds schedule sooner so that I had a better idea about what to expect for sleep on the nights I was at the hospital. In the next video, I look forward to sharing information about our son's recovery. Thank you.